Hello and welcome to the RRR Station, my first YouTube channel ever. Admittingly, this is probably not the first channel out there that features reviews and such, and usually myself I'm just used to writing them. But I was interested in seeing how this might work out. So the first film I'm going to talk about is Man of Steel. So Man of Steel is Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan's take on bringing the Man of Tomorrow's origins to the big screen for a new generation. Taking a more realistic style with potent sensibilities of something out of 50s science fiction, if anything. Hopes were high for this film to deliver, and whilst the reactions for this film have been varied to say the least, I'd be lying to myself if I said I wasn't a little bit disappointed. This film just doesn't have the correct pacing, structure, or even competent characters to handle both an origin story of Superman, a hostile takeover plot, whilst juggling both progressive flashbacks of Clark Kent's progression into becoming the world's greatest superhero. Zack Snyder has shown before that he's good at work at comic book adaptations, yet not so much his own original work. But his signature slow motion style is nowhere to be found here, as it's clear that Nolan seems more in control in this version, as The Last Son of Krypton is played out more with a lot of realism. This is both a good and a bad thing, as the culture and design of Krypton is much more dynamic and detailed than one would have originally thought, yet this style results in unnecessary, uninspired, and irritatingly distracting shaky cam that doesn't work here, and it doesn't work in any film that isn't intentionally filmed on a handheld device. The sooner that goes away, the better off movies will be, in my view. But the action here in this movie suffers because of this factor as well. This is particularly annoying since there's so much action here. It never seems to faze me how movie makers think that close-up shaky cam fistfights are entertaining to watch. On the subject of action, and whilst I have nothing wrong with action, when it's done well, here I can see the issue that many other people may be having. For me, it's not that there's too much action, it's that there's no breathing room in between, or at least not enough so the audience can fully appreciate each moment, because in the next minute, another will pop up. Moderation is key, and it's one of the film's most suffering problems. Another main element that stems from both positive and negative aspects are the characters. I will say that Henry Cavill is a standout here as both looking the part and playing it greatly, and whilst he is no Christopher Reeves, he does capture what I was hoping he would, and is one of the movie's most pleasant surprises, and I really do appreciate the studio for choosing someone less known for a role like this. Russell Crowe pulls back from what an embarrassment that Les Mis was, and gives us a rather collected performance as Jor-El, and he appears a lot more than I thought he would. But the main letdowns here come from Amy Adams and Kevin Costner. Amy Adams somehow manages to be blander and less memorable than the Lane in Superman Returns, and any chemistry between her and Superman is absent here, and many of their romantic moments feel so forced it's uncanny. Kevin Costner just does little for me here, and despite being given some admittedly strong lines, he just can't shake off his bland delivery. And much stronger characters like Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White feel underused, and it's disappointing not to see them utilised more. However, the villains make up for it, and whilst Michael Shannon is no Terrence Stamp, he does command a presence of a much more militarised General Zod. This is helped by the fact that his motivations are somewhat sympathetic, if not misguided, allowing us to connect with him more in the time that he's on screen and see why he's doing what he's doing. Also, Feora was badass. The main issues with all these characters, however, is the dialogue given here. That's a problem with a lot of Nolan's work, and the characters spelling out things just too much. Instead of getting personality traits, we're often treated to overdrawn monologues that just feel unnecessary. It's a classic case of you should show, not tell. As much as I love Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, they have this problem as well. Characters just don't talk realistically, in what's supposed to be a realistic film. I mean, sure, the speeches are powerful, and I know Nolan fans will jump on any chance to defend the films he shoots, but come on, the guy's not infallible. Now, despite all these complaints, I still don't hate the movie, it's just not going to receive the perfect score that most fanboys are going to hope for. The film left the same impression on me that The Dark Knight Rises did. There's a lot of problems, and big problems, but there's a lot to really appreciate here, like the production values are top quality despite the horrendous shaky cam, and admittedly it is incredibly satisfying to see a Superman movie where the fight scenes are real and spectacular, and used with such high budget values, even though they are exhausting often, especially in IMAX. I think I benefit from another viewing of this one, but for now, my verdict.
How do you find someone who has spent a lifetime covering his tracks?
Superman is often called one of the most difficult characters to put on screen, and whilst he has been done before, and done better, there's a certain respect I can't overlook for trying to interpret him in the way that they did. It's the script's clunky structure that breaks down the film's pacing, which leaves me feeling unsatisfied in some respects, but those are forgiven in places by incredible action and memorable performances from most of the cast. But for me, I still can't give Man of Steel any more than a 6.5 out of 10.
You will help them accomplish wonders.
You believe your son is safe?
I will find him!
My father believed that if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
So that's Man of Steel, and hopefully this video hasn't turned out as bad as I thought it would, and this being my first video, hopefully as time goes on and more videos are put up, I'll get better over time. And thank you if you didn't turn off the video in the first 5 seconds. And this is the RRR Station, now signing off.